Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, welcome. Today I'm excited, finally got the kit put together. Now I'm going to do the electronics. I got the magnetic body mounts. Got to get all the electronics in here first and figure out where everything's going to go. Then I can mount the body. I won't be painting the body in this video. I'll get everything ready on the car, all the mounts ready. And then I'll be doing a completely separate video on how I paint and do all that to the body. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to check out my other videos. The last couple ones I posted on this. I'll also have a playlist. I did an unboxing, an introduction, and unboxed all the motor and ESC and gyro and which one I used and all that stuff. So make sure to check those out. And also make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow.
This is a really good idea.
But a quick basic rundown. Got the Rocket RC Thunder 540 drift motor, 13.5T. The gyro, we got the DP302 V4 from Yokomo. That's a red color, so I'm going with the red, black, and gold theme, kind of like gold hardware and things like that. Then we got the ESC is the quick run 10BL120. This thing's pretty cool. It's supposed to have timing and boost, turbo, and all that stuff. For a budget ESC, it's supposed to be pretty good. Then for the battery, I have the Hovo or Huvo. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But it's got the bullet plug connectors on there. And I also ordered some 3.5 millimeter bullet connector, female and male ends, because the motor here takes 3.5 millimeter plugs, so that way everything will be plug and play and easy, and not everything just soldered together. That way when I want to switch out motors and other things, it'll be a lot easier using the same plug. Receiver and transmitter, got the FlySky FS GT3B. Another budget remote I've used before on other RCs and seems to work pretty good. And then I got the Hobby Park magnetic body mounts. These are like an anodized red and black. They look pretty cool. Should go good with the theme. Then I also bought a 3-pack of the sensor wires for the motor because it's censored, and so is the ESC. And I was reading up on everyone's motor, the Drift 540. They said that they got a wire with theirs, and I was like, well, I didn't get one with mine. Well, I ordered this 3-pack of different sizes, and I didn't need it because there was one in the packaging, and I just missed it.
I don't have a brain.
So now I have extra. Different sizes are nice, so for different mounting options. And then for the servo, I got the Enjora 14 kilogram servo. I'm not really happy with that mainly because it's blue. When I was ordering all this stuff, I was just thinking budget because that was pretty cheap and a good servo. From what I've heard, it's worked pretty good in other people's drift projects. So one of my first upgrades on this after I get it all together will probably be a Yokomo servo, red and black one that's programmable. So stay tuned for that. Alright, well I'm going to move some stuff around and get a better angle. I think I'm going to start with mounting the motor first. That way I can worry about the ESC and routing the wires. So let me get this cleaned up. Alright. So you'll see here on my... Alright, you'll notice here my screws are very long and I have 2 spacers right here. I'm going to have to use these temporarily. I have to order some shorter screws because this motor did not come with screws to mount it, so I'm just going to use these temporarily to do the wiring and all that, and then I'll switch them out when I get the right size screws in. So if you see these sticking up in the video, that's why. Alright, well I got this on here. Like I said, you can see the spacers, the screws sticking out, and I have it set so it's not engaged with that right now, just while I'm moving it around. But mainly now it's just to see if the body fits on here and this part here clears the body. Kind of just push that on there, you'll see, yep, I do got room there. I can even go lower at the body. And if I do have to cut the back window out a little bit, I'm not too worried about it. I can do that like radiator look like the drift cars have. But I think that looks really good. Now I can figure out where I'm going to mount the ESC on here and start running the wires and trimming them to fit the motor. So my goal here is to have the wires hidden as much as I can and have everything nice and tidy. Alright, as you can see, the connectors that I had with my battery, since those are 4mm connectors, they're a little smaller, a little bigger than these 3.5s. So I cut them and put bullet connectors on those, so I can have these in here. And then on the other end of the wire I'll have another connector, so I can just unplug them whenever I want. Alright, so right now I got these measured and cut. I have to solder the ends on for the power plugs. And I have a male and a female on opposites here, that way you can't plug the wrong one in. Now I'm going to measure the A, B, and C cables going to the connectors here. So once I measure these, cut them, and then put the 3.5mm plugs on, I can route them nicely around here so they can plug into there. So here's what I did. I used the 3M double-sided tape to mount the ESC on that plate. I don't know if you can see, but I mounted it up high enough where they got the two screw holes here, so I can unscrew that whole plate and take the ESC off without having to worry about the double-sided tape. And then the capacitor, I also used some double-sided tape and stuck that to the side of the ESC. Looks nice and centered. So it should look pretty nice when I get all this rooted out of the way. And I don't have enough shrink wrap tubing. I just have small little pieces. So I'm going to order some to cover up these wires, because I don't really like those colored wires messing with my black, red, and gold theme. Then I have to run this cable through there and then figure out where I'm going to mount the on and off switch. But first I'm going to get the big cables out of the way, get these measured and cut. Then I'll take this off, solder the ends on, and then we'll see how it looks. Alright, I got these wires trimmed down pretty good where it leaves me enough room so I can rotate the motor back and forth. So now I'm going to unscrew these two bolts here for the ESC mount, and take this off and solder the plugs on here. Alright, closer look. So I got that mounted on the side. I got all the plugs on there. Once I get the heat shrink tubing to cover all this up, it'll look a lot better. Alright, I'm going to mount this back on, plug the wires in, and see how it looks. I got the power cables. They're going to come down here. And I got these ran as best as I could. I'll get you a better angle here in a second. Alright, got it on the little stand here. You can see in the back. Cables came out pretty nice, and then these We're gonna sit lower. Coming down here to the battery. So these are the 3.5 millimeter plugs. Can take them in and out. And then here I have plugs separating these because these are 4 millimeter. I'm going to see if I can find a battery that uses the same plugs, and I won't have to have that little adapter piece there, but this way I can hook up different batteries with different plugs, so works out. But here I left enough slack for the engine to tilt forward and back. Plenty of adjustability there. Doesn't stick out very far. Now I have to find a place to run this wire through. So I gotta find where I'm gonna mount this, and then the gyro as well. Alright, I'm kind of glad I did buy that other pack of the sensor wires with the different sizes. So I used the smallest one. It goes from right here to there. It's like perfect. Because one thing I hate on RCs is cluttered wires and all that stuff. Alright, now I'm going to use some more of the double-sided tape. Mount the receiver. Then I can run the wires to that. Alright, I'm going to take off the top deck to make it easier to mount this and get the receiver centered here. Alright, so first before I mount the receiver, I'm going to mount the gyro right here in the center, in front of the battery. From what I've read, that's the best place to put it. Alright, got the gyro mounted there. Then once I have this all mounted, then I can run the wiring. Alright, now that I have the remote binded to the receiver, what you do is put your bind plug in there, depending on your remote and your receiver setup, and then hold the bind button on here, and then turn this on, and then the blinking red light should turn solid. Turn that guy on. This guy. Hear the servo moving there. Got some throttle. I don't have it hooked up to the spur gear or anything yet, but yeah, everything's working. Now I can mount the receiver and run the wires and everything from that. Alright, now that I have steering, I got the gyro hooked up. I can go in later and adjust the settings and things like that. Alright, so now I got the servo hooked up, the gyro, receiver, all that good stuff. I can put the top deck back on here and run the wires. Alright. I noticed that throttle and reverse are reversed on here, so I have to switch that around. Could probably do that right here on the remote. Got the receiver right here next to the gyro, and I plan on making like a little mini box kind of thing here to hold some of these extra wires. Now I just have to mount and find a place for the on and off switch here. That shouldn't be too hard to do. I can maybe put that on the back here. Alright, got the wires pretty well hidden. Coming through here. just enough slack in these so I can move the motor back and forth. Got that rear ESC. I think it looks pretty good. But yeah, once I ordered some more heat shrink tubing and some wire loom stuff, so these will be covered up. I think I'm gonna go with these red and black ones. They're like braided, so that should look pretty cool. It's got the little antenna going through here. And I put some heat shrink tubing on the wires from the servo and ran that on the side in there. So yeah, once I get some, this is like the little leads for the battery for balancing and charging. But once I get the loom on all these exposed wires, and then like I said, these extra wires here, I'm going to build like a little cover where these can sit underneath. But yeah, I'm really liking the red and black theme. Once I get some more upgrade parts, like shock towers and then the big bore shocks I want to get. And then we'll be getting rid of this servo and going with the Yokomo red and black one. That'll match and it'll pair up really well with that gyro. That servo is really snappy too. That sensored motor. Nice slow speeds. Oh yeah. Alright, so far I think it's turning out pretty damn good. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, definitely stay tuned. The next video should be painting and mounting the body. You check out my other videos, do an unboxing and show you the body and all the little things I have to go with that. Alright, I'm going to find a spot to mount the on and off switch, and then I'm going to button this video up. Alright, I think it turned out pretty dang good. Can only get better from here. Like everything is pretty centered here in the back. On and off switch underneath it here on the back, and there's still room to get these two screws. So if I need to take the ESC and stuff off, I can take that to get to the diff if I need to do any replacements. Yeah, it came out really clean. And then with the bullet connectors here, I can take those on and off whenever I want. Same thing with the power and negative. I have those with bullet connectors also. So whatever battery I get in the future, I can just swap them in and out. Then here you got the servo, and that wire is coming over here to the side. Everything nice and tidy. It'll look way better once I get that loom on there, but yeah, all in all, I think it turned out pretty good. Alright, thanks for checking out the video. Make sure to check out my other ones as well. Stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, because I got big plans, a lot of upgrades for this thing, plus the body I'm going to be painting and doing, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you on the next one.